The Galaxy S20 is Samsung's flagship S series phone from last year. It has been almost 2 years into its life cycle, which is a long time in phone years. That warrants the question, how does it hold up and should you still consider buying one today in 2021? I'm Rohan from TechieTechTech and let's talk about the Galaxy S20 in 2021. Here we go. I was never really a big fan of the Galaxy S20's overall design language. I mean, sure, it is functional and sturdy with your regular glass and aluminum sandwich, but there's just no outlying feature that gives it that distinct flagship look and feel. In fact, I think that this phone is the most generic looking flagship made by Samsung in the past few years. The Galaxy S10, which preceded the S20, and the Galaxy S21, which succeeded it, both look far better and far more unique. However, if you're looking for a design that is functional and minimal, the Galaxy S20 will fit the bill perfectly. Just do not expect the design to turn heads. But what will turn heads though is that display. You know the drill. Samsung makes amazing display panels and even supplies them to almost all the competition. That makes it quite obvious that Samsung flagships will pack the best of the best displays. Even after almost 2 years of launch, the Galaxy S20 packs a display that still stands unrivaled. We have a crisp QHD Plus 120Hz panel which displays sharp text, vivid multimedia and larger than life colors. A couple of interesting things about the display. The Galaxy S20 and S20 Plus actually pack higher resolution and thus better displays than the S21 and the S21 Plus. Secondly, you cannot choose to run this display on both 120Hz and QHD resolution, something which you can do on the newer S21 Ultra. But despite all that, if there's anything that has aged like fine wine on the Galaxy S20, it has to be this display panel. Unfortunately, that same aging cannot be seen when you talk about the performance. There are two separate paradigms here, with the Snapdragon version of the Galaxy S20 which is doing just fine. Then there's the Exynos 990 version which I have here, and this has not aged so gracefully. Now don't get me wrong, it's still great for your day-to-day stuff like texting, social media, web browsing and even the camera. The problem begins when you try to push it with some intense gaming or some video conferencing. You can see lags, you can see frame drops, and you can definitely see some nice overheating and throttling. The Galaxy S20 is not the phone for you if your gaming requirements are anything more than Candy Crush. Only consider this phone if you do not value performance and can ignore a few hints of lag here and there. However, when we talk about the software experience, that has actually been great. Samsung's One UI has always been a mixed bag for me. There's a lot of refinement and everything works the way it is supposed to with no crashes or compatibility issues whatsoever. But then there's the double-edged sword. It is the overload of Samsung gimmicks in One UI. You basically have an alternative to every Google service, so there's Samsung Internet for Google Chrome, there's Samsung Bixby for Google Assistant and so on. I won't necessarily complain about it since I know a lot of people who actually use these services, but it can still be overwhelming for someone who's just switched. In addition to this, Samsung also has one of the best track records for delivering software updates. This means that the Galaxy S20 will receive Android and security updates till 2024. This is a huge positive since it is not something that many Android manufacturers provide for their consumers. Let's talk about the cameras now. Before we proceed, let's revisit the specs. The Galaxy S20 sports a triple camera setup featuring a 12MP primary camera, a 12MP ultra-wide camera and a 64MP telephoto camera that uses hybrid zoom to deliver zoomed-in stills. The Galaxy S20 came out in March 2020 and there have been some incredible developments, especially in the smartphone camera department. The new technology has gotten a lot cheaper and even the mid-range devices sport high-resolution camera sensors now. So let's find out how Samsung's 2020 flagship performs in 2021, more than 1.5 years later. As always, we'll talk about the photos first and then move on to the videos. The primary camera performance is really good in all the scenarios. The 12 megapixel camera captures stills with a lot of details, low noise and high dynamic range. The overall look of the pictures is neutral and does not look punchy or over-processed. The ultra-wide camera is the same on all the S20 models, and in short, it delivers excellent pictures with low fringing, high dynamic range and good colors. The 64 megapixel telephoto camera uses hybrid zoom or cropping to deliver 3 times zoomed in stills. The pictures shot with the telephoto camera look respectable but can sometimes get noisy in low light environments. Now portraits shot with the Galaxy S20 look vibrant with good skin tones and fairly good subject separation. The front-facing 10 megapixel camera supports autofocus and shoots selfies that look top-notch and have a wide dynamic range. The low light performance, especially with the primary and the ultra-wide cameras, is impressive for a camera this size. There are plenty of details in both shadows and highlights. Moving on to the videos, in terms of resolutions and frame rates, the Galaxy S20's rear camera can shoot videos in up to 8K at 24 frames per second and in 4K at 60 frames per second. On the flip side, the front camera can also shoot videos in 4K at up to 60 frames per second. Moving on to video quality, the Galaxy S20 captures videos with respectable stabilization, good colors and high dynamic range. Moreover, the S20 maintains the video quality even in low light environments, making it a good all-rounder smartphone camera. To sum things up, the Galaxy S20 was a flagship smartphone, so its cameras can clearly outpace other more newer mid-range devices. The S20's camera user interface and image quality is good enough for a casual user who just wants to take nice photos and videos. Thanks to Samsung's regular camera software updates and the inclusion of new features in those updates, the Galaxy S20 will still make a good camera for a regular user and a pro user who wants some sort of flexibility. In short, the Galaxy S20 sports a stellar camera even by 2021 standards. Let's talk about the battery life now. It's not really very good. I used all three, the Galaxy S20, the S20 Plus and the S20 Ultra, and only the largest Ultra was able to last a full day comfortably. With the S20 and the S20 Plus, I was actually often forced to step down to 60Hz to make sure that there's enough juice to at least last a full day. Now thankfully, the Galaxy S20 charges quite quickly and the 25W fast charger is included in the box. There's also support for wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Now of course, this is the Exynos variant which I mentioned earlier, so you can expect better battery life on the better optimized Snapdragon version. And now for a few quick highlights before we conclude. The call quality in typical Samsung fashion is great with excellent earpiece and microphone clarity. Even the signal holding capacity for both LTE and Wi-Fi was excellent. The fingerprint sensor is ultrasonic, which means it is a bit slow, but it makes up for it because you can use it without actually waking the display up first. You just have to remember where the spot is, which is quite easy because you get used to it with muscle memory. The speakers are great too, and I actually found the haptics better on the Galaxy S20 compared to the base S21. And now for the conclusion. Unless you're getting an excellent price or some great deal, it's hard to recommend the Galaxy S20. Part of the reason is that mid-range devices have gotten really good, and the other part is that the Galaxy S20 just didn't age very well when we talk about the performance and battery life. If you're someone who doesn't play games at all and can appreciate a good display, the Galaxy S20 is still a fine choice for you in 2021. Also, if you're buying this phone, please try to procure the Snapdragon version. It is a noticeably better phone which gives a noticeably better experience. I hope this video helped you out guys, and if it did, please help us back by liking this video, sharing it and subscribing to our channel. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Until then, this has been Rohan from TechieTechTech and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.